Ends 4-5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate. Paid for by Bayer.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, they're still working with this incident in the left lane, northbound 270, just before you get to Manchester Road. North 270 is pretty much jammed at 44. South 270 is on the brakes from Page to Ladue, heavy down through the Manchester area, and then 44 midway down to Gravois, a little slow after that. Southbound 170 bogs down, approaching Olive to 64. Westbound 64 from Grand all the way to McCausland, from Lindbergh out to Ballast. Clarkson to Topgolf. There's a slowdown midway out from K to Winghaven, and then west of there, pretty heavy all the way out to Highway 70. Westbound Highway 70 has some slow traffic, 79 most of the way to Bryan Road. Northbound 170 is bogged down from almost the Rock Road to Airport Road. If you're downtown, we still have this mess with the emergency repair work on 5570 at 64. Westbound is jammed midway between 111 and 203. Eastbound 64 is jammed back across the Poplar Street Bridge. 64 is backed up through to Market Street Bernard. 44 is almost jammed eastbound at Grand to the bridge. Both directions of 44 and 70 between the Poplar and McKinley bridges are heavy. And of course, eastbound Mutual Veterans Bridge is bumper to bumper as well. Southbound 55 Arsenal to Bates, a solid jam running through there right now also. I'm Roger Brand at the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX. Matt Pauley is at the ballpark with all the nice memorabilia behind him, which you can see, by the way, if you join us on the stream. So you can do that on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And, of course, you're listening to us on 104.1 FM and 1120 AM if you choose to go that route as well. The music's better on FM, though. And both of us sound a lot better on FM at the same time.
Much better.
Matt, we got a lot to do today, man. We're going to try to get it all done in the amount of time that we have. Of course, 5:50 for the pregame today, 6:45 first pitch with the Cardinals taking on the Angels. So we talked a lot. Let's kick it off with kind of like this continuing learning process that we're on at the beginning of a year, right? So over the weekend, we saw a 3-game sweep, and a lot of what happened there is probably what it's going to look like if the Cardinals are going to play well, right? Like this is the formula. Play great defense. They took tough at-bats, a home run here and there, pretty good starting pitching. And then yesterday we saw not the extreme opposite because it wasn't that. But yesterday we saw how thin the margin is, that all it takes is a few plays going off and you can lose a game that you had a lead in late.
Yeah, you and I were texting about this yesterday. The Cardinals' margin of error is so low, so thin. And when they have an opportunity to win a ball game, they got to go win it. They can't have many losses like they had yesterday. Because you think about everything that went down late in the game. You had Brendan Donovan making the decision to throw home. You had Nolan Arenado bobbling a ball and not getting it over to third to get the lead runner. You had some bad luck. Mason Wynn hit 108 off the bat, and it was right at a guy. You had some decisions that were made that you wonder if those were the best decisions, whether it was lifting Ivan Herrera, whether it was not pinch hitting for Wynn with Gorman. Like yesterday's game I enjoyed in the sense that there were so many like fun things to be able to talk about afterwards. It was one of those games where just moment after moment after moment, you saw all these things kind of accumulate to what turned into a 1-run loss for the club.
Yeah, and I brought this up with Rick Horton earlier. He joined us on DGS, and like this is what coaches in all sports talk about. This is what managers talk about, that in the tight games, it's going to be simple things that sometimes do you in. So use the Donovan play as an example, right? You have a runner on third base that can run in Rengifo, and you get a slow chopper. Your play is probably not at home plate. Your play is going to be, where do I get an out? And if you get that out, then Mike Trout's flyout ends the inning, and you're only down 1, and you got that one back in the bottom of the inning. So at the worst case, if you get an out there, assuming everything else follows as it did, you'd be going to another inning tied 4-4. But when you end up down 2 runs because you tried to make an aggressive play, let's be fair, there was no play there. And I actually listened a little bit on the Angels broadcast when I looked at the replay, and they were shocked. They're like, I can't believe he went home. He had an out at second. He had an out at first. I can't believe he went to the play where he didn't have a play. So even outside eyes looked at that and thought, this is probably not the right play to be made.
And let me be clear, like, I have no problem with the alignment, but it's also something where when you go back to like, what's the first domino? Well, the first domino in that is the decision to play back for the double play as opposed to playing in for a play at the plate. If you play in on that play, maybe you do have that play at the plate. Instead, the team was playing back, and because they were playing back, Donovan had a long way to go to charge that ball, and a lot happened on the slow roller before he was able to even pick it up. So there's a lot of different things that are going into all that.
Yeah, and that, by the way, all that should play into a player's decision too, right?
Yeah,
you know that you're back, you know that it's a high chopper, and it's taken a while. You got to know that your internal clock's got to tell you, I got to get an out, and then you move from there. And again, that's just one example, right? You mentioned the Arenado play. There were a few other. I mean, there were some at bats where you didn't come through when you needed to. And then, we had a couple of interesting decisions that we can get to as we go through the show today. But I didn't take as much issue with the catcher move. And at first I kind of did. I kind of flinched. And then I thought about it. And then I heard Ollie's explanation after the game. And by the way, he expanded on all of these explanations on the Gas House Gang today. Of course, every Tuesday from noon to 12:30, Ollie's going to join the boys live. And the boys are Chris Ranji, Bernie Miklas, and Tom Ackerman. And they're going to go over things like they did today. And they got a lot of pretty good explanations. And in a lot of cases, I agree with the explanation. I thought his explanation on the Ivan Herrera move made sense. You were coming up on guys that could run for the Angels if they get on base. You're in a 1-run game. And if that guy moves into scoring position by swiping a bag, and look, it's very clear that Herrera's throwing is a problem. And that's something that Ollie went into some depth today on the Gas House Gang talking about, that they're still working on it. They're thinking about maybe trying to get him to throw from his knees to speed up the transition process, to speed up the transfer. That's one thing you can do. It's a lot easier to cut time off your pop time in a transition or in the exchange than it is on adding velo, because adding velo is hard coming out of a crouch, man. It takes, I think, like 3 to 5 miles an hour to make up 1/10 of a second. If the math I've done in coaching my catchers still holds up, but you can cut 1/10 on the exchange by being faster with your feet, by drilling so that your hands get the ball out of the glove faster, things like that. But either way, that's going to be a work in progress. So I understood that one, especially after the explanation.
Yeah, I was with him on it because of just that. If a runner gets on, you don't want it to just turn into a double automatically. I thought it was funny on my post-game show last night, in the extra inning show. I had people chiming in saying that Oliver Marmol is the worst manager in the history of the world because he had Herrera even in there in the first place, and that was connected to the non-strike 3 realization. And then I also had people saying that Oliver Marmol is the worst manager in the world because he lifted Herrera. So I had both extremes.
Both extremes hitting you, yeah.
Of why some people didn't want Herrera in there at all because of his defense. Some people think it's crazy that Herrera would be lifted at all. And if those two extremes do exist, the right decision probably lays somewhere in between.
Right. A few other things we want to dive into, and this to me is a little bit bigger picture topic, but there was also a lot of buzz about the Contreras bunt. Now, I knew last night watching it, there was no way the team had him bunt on purpose,
no.
Right? Like, you're not going to tell your best hitter to bunt in that situation. They didn't. Ollie talked about it after the game. Contreras did it on his own. And again, here's something. I said this last night before hearing what Ollie was going to say, but Ollie said almost word for word what I said is, you don't hold your players' hands at the major league level. That player, that veteran player, can make his own decision. And if he thinks that's the play, to me, you got to trust him. You have to trust your players in that spot. Carlos Beltran did that same thing when he was here. He wasn't feeling great on a given day, and he laid down a bunt, and it didn't end up working very well, but it was his choice. Veteran players get that freedom. It's not Little League, man. It's not high school ball where a coach goes and tells the player, don't you dare do this. The player gets the freedom to do that, especially when they're a proven veteran.
Yeah, I'm never going to tell Wilson Contreras to put a sacrifice bunt down. That's if I'm the manager.
Agreed.
That's never, ever, ever happening. But if he's at a place where he doesn't feel like he's going to be able to come through and he feels like the best chance he can give his team is to get the runner up and then give some other hitters behind him a chance to come through, then because you know what? You know this, Kevin. If you go up to the plate and don't feel like you have a shot, you're probably not coming through in that place.
Yeah, there are times when you're seeing it. I mean, look, it's a cliche, right? We've heard this in baseball forever. Sometimes it looks like a beach ball. Sometimes it looks like an aspirin coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know when that's going to be. And we can't tell when that is. So that's why I'm saying with a veteran guy, if they decide to do something like that, you have to trust the player, even if you disagree with the strategy, right? Even if you don't like the strategy, I think you got to roll that way. All right, we're going to talk about another decision that we didn't get to yet coming up next, and that was the choice to not pinch hit for Mason Wynn in the bottom of the 10th inning, down a run with a runner on first and 2 outs. Ollie had an explanation for that, and I want to disagree with it when we come back. It's the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, they cleared what turned out to be a crash on northbound 270. This traffic reports a service of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. So lanes are open north 270 at Manchester, but it's still jammed from 44 up to about Doherty Ferry. Then it slowly picks up the pace from there. Southbound 270, still hard on the brakes from Page down to 64, and it's slow through Manchester, and again, 44 down to Gravois. South 170, midway between Page and Olive down to 64 is heavy. Northbound 170, Natural Bridge up to Airport Road, slow. Westbound 64, approaching Boyle out to McCausland, Lindbergh to Ballas. West of K to Winghaven, or midway to Winghaven, and then 364 to 70, all pretty busy. Eastbound 70, if you're coming in for the ball game that way, it's slow from 170 through Lucas Hunt. Eastbound 64, McKnight through Big Bend, of course, has delays. In downtown, it's a real mess. It'll take you a little while to get to the ballpark. On eastbound 64, it's jammed from about Market Street, Bernard. 44 is jammed east of Grand. That goes all the way across the Poplar Street Bridge over onto 70 due to the emergency repair work. Westbound 5570 jams west of 111. 44 and 70 both backed up between the Poplar and McKinley Bridges, and eastbound 70s jam across the Mutual Veterans Bridge as well. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air and Electrical.
And electrical.
Jerry Kelly. If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Have you been injured in an accident? You need a personal injury law firm that wins. Onder wins. For over 100 years, we've been fighting and winning for St. Louis. $5 billion in negotiated settlements? We've got it. $300 million in verdicts? Done. Voted best law firm by STL Today 2 years in a row. Onder wins all the time. Car accident, trucking accident, workplace injury. No matter the case, let Onder win for you. When the stakes are high, we're the team you can trust. Wondering what your case is worth? Call now for a free consultation. And remember, we don't get paid unless you win. Dial 314 or 618-9-million. That's 9 then all zeros. Or visit onderwins.com today. Onder Law. Winning is what we do.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal. where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour here with Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler. You can find us, obviously, on all the social media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We're streaming live there. By the way, if you're streaming, feel free to throw in questions, comments anytime we're on the Redbird Rush Hour. We're happy to mix those in as we go through the show. And, of course, broadcasting hot on 104.1 KMOX. All right, Matt. Let's get to the one area of disagreement, I think, because I heard a lot of what I listened to all of Ollie's segment today on the Gas House Gang. And by the way, you guys, if you missed it, you can go podcast that anywhere you get podcasts, because that's where the Gas House Gang is, anywhere you get them. And Ollie explained part of his decision to not pinch hit for Mason Wynn last night with a runner on first with 2 outs. You're in the bottom of the 10th. You're down a run, right on right. And I was in real time. This wasn't a second guess. In real time, I was saying and texting to all you guys, you got to hit here. Mm-hmm. Gorman's got to hit here. You got the left-right split advantage. Gorman's a 750 career OPS against righties. Wynn is like a 680. Wynn has been in a slump now for 7 weeks, man. And I did not like the explanation. I liked the explanation on the Herrera switch. I liked some of it. I hated this explanation. They wanted to show faith in Wynn, and they were worried about not having a shortstop. What is that? First of all, you don't have to worry about who's playing shortstop if you lose the game. And secondly, if we're showing faith in young players, then why did you hit for Jordan Walker 2 batters before? Because Jordan Walker's actually hitting the crap out of the ball.
Yeah, so look, I'm okay with the part of the explanation about trying to show faith, and Wynn had the hard hit ball earlier, which was good to see. So I get all that. I don't per se agree with it, but like I understand that pathway. The whole not losing the shortstop thing, I don't agree with that at all, because I'd rather not know who the shortstop is in the 11th inning than the game. You lose the game in the 10th. So find a way to get to the 11th and then deal with that problem at that point in time. But I would have gone with Gorman in that situation, without doubt. Like
I agree.
Gorman's my choice in that situation.
Just come back to a thing though, man. If you're gonna trust young players, be consistent. Don't pinch hit for Jordan Walker and then show faith and win. That doesn't make sense to me. It's if you're gonna let one of them go, you should let the other one go. Well, I'm sorry, but I mean, be consistent. That would be very helpful. All right, stick around. More Redbird Rush Hour coming up on 104.1 KMOX.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L, 544-3600.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $119. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them that KMOX sent you. Spell it forward, spell it backward. It's always the same, Zero Res.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, northbound 270 continues to improve. I just call it slow now from 44 up toward Doherty Ferry. Picks up the pace, but then it's heavy again from Manchester up to Ladue, but better than the jam we had earlier from that crash. South 270 still on the brakes from Page to Ladue and slow through Manchester. After that, not as much of an issue. Southbound 170, that's more of a backup now, approaching Olive all the way down to Brentwood. Northbound 170, north of the Rock Road up to Airport Road, slow. Eastbound 70, if you're coming in for the ball game, from 170 and through Lucas Hunt's busy. Eastbound 64, a little slow at Clarkson, McKnight to Big Bend, but of course downtown's where the real problem is. We have the emergency repair work on 5570 just past 64 on the Illinois side. Eastbound 64 is jammed back across the Poplar, and it's backed up eastbound 64 to almost Vandevetter now. Eastbound 44 is a solid jam from Grand to the bridge. Both directions of 4470 between the McKinley and the Poplar are backed up. Eastbound 70 across the Musial Veterans Bridge, bumper to bumper as well. Southbound 55 Arsenal down through Bates, you've got heavy traffic there. And if you're on eastbound 270 in North County from New Halls Ferry all the way to the Chain of Rocks Bridge, stop and go traffic running that way. Out in St. Charles County, westbound 64 west to K, out to 70, pretty slow. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
At 5:30 right now, we've got 59 degrees downtown at the Arch. Politicians are known for being long-winded, but they're usually not this long-winded. A senator's been speaking on the floor of the Senate since 7 o'clock last night.
New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker says he'll continue to speak for as long as he's physically able in protest of the Trump administration's policies and actions.
As Trump and billionaire Elon Musk flash the size of the federal government bureaucracy, jobs that deal with immigration enforcement appear largely exempt.
Booker says he's worried the administration will make deep cuts to programs that benefit the most needy.
People living in rural areas that see their local social security agency on a list that Elon Musk put of places he's going to sell away to the private sector.
Christopher Cruz, CBS News, Washington.
Sources tell CBS News that President Trump will consider a final proposal for TikTok tomorrow.
President Trump set a deadline of Saturday for TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell its stake in the app or potentially face a ban in the U.S. market. The administration is finalizing plans for potential investors that could include Blackstone and Oracle, as well as a long list of other investors. Trump has said it's ultimately his decision and that he'd like to see it remain alive. There was originally a January 19th deadline for the sale, but Trump extended it by 75 days.
Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield broke off negotiations with MU Healthcare. The contract expired today.
Around 90,000 Missouri patients will lose in-network coverage. It includes employer-employee health plans and individual plans through HealthLink and the Affordable Care Act. Anthem says MU Healthcare wanted a 39% increase in costs spread out over 3 years, which it says is too high. In a statement, MU Healthcare says patients may now have to pay more out of pocket to see an MU Healthcare doctor or care team or find a new in-network doctor. Marshall Griffin, Missouri Net.
Tonight, more clouds, low 55. For tomorrow, some rain and storms, high 78. Right now, downtown at the Arch, it's 59, feels like 47. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hi, it's Jeff Sachs. The swings of the market should not affect your retirement plan. Your income in retirement should be independent of the market swings. If you're up all night worrying about it, we need to review your plan, and today is a great day to do it. Let's simplify your retirement at retiresafestl.com.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. cost. The Land Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems. And we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Land Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I put money into real estate, and from there came one of my largest returns on one of my properties, which is about close to 300% return in about 14 months.
That's Joe Cantu on what Lifestyles Unlimited has done for him. Join Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited for Expo 2025, May 7th through the 10th in Irving, Texas. Get hands-on training from successful investors and learn proven strategies that work. Save $100 when you text EXPO to 88007, EXPO to 88007.
Hey guys, Glover here for Underdog Fantasy. Would you like to win up to 1,000 times your money? Well, you can with Underdog. To play, choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. Let's take baseball since we just had opening day. Strikeouts, home runs, hits, and more. You can play for as little as $1. And if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn $1 into $1,000 just with your baseball knowledge. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. Download the Underdog app and sign up now using the promo code GLOVER to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with promo code GLOVER. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon your first deposit. Must be 18 years old or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Community America Credit Union is opening a new branch in Hazelwood. Join me, Amy Markscores, special Cardinals alumni, and Redbird on April 10th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the grand opening. We'll have food trucks and a chance to win prizes. See you there.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. A few things we want to get to, Matt. Obviously, we're going to tease the pregame that's coming up at 5:50 in a minute. I kind of wanted to continue not the same discussion about not pinch hitting for win or trusting one guy and not another, but just to get to the bigger picture here. And it kind of relates to Ollie Marmol being on the Gas House Gang every Tuesday for a half an hour. First of all, he's going to be taking questions from people watching on the stream or listening on the text line. So he'll be interacting with the fan base. He's totally cool with answering all of these questions. Like he likes this, and that's great. And I feel like as I watched that half hour today, I watched it streaming here at the station. I agreed with the vast majority of what he had to say as far as explanations. It all made sense. There's just the one thing that I didn't like, which was that explanation we were just talking about. And I think that's normal, right? We don't have to be all or nothing on a person and how they do things, whether it's Mo or Ollie or a player for that matter. There are things that you'll agree with when they explain their thinking, and there are going to be things you're going to think, no, I still think it's wrong.
I can think that Oliver Marmol is a really good manager, which I do. And I can also think that Mason Wynn had no business batting for himself in the 10th inning yesterday.
Yeah.
Like that's no matter how much I like and respect a manager, I am never going to agree with 100% of the decisions that they make.
No, that's true. And that was true with Tony La Russa. I mean, look, Tony's a Hall of Famer, and we all would ask him these questions and disagree and agree sometimes too. I mean, it's just kind of part of the fun of sports. So we got for those that are listening on the radio, we got a message through that looks like it's on Twitter. I don't know, it might be YouTube. No, it's on YouTube. YouTube. Yeah. The one guy from that show, he just sent us a message and said, loved hearing Ollie today. Man's a baseball nut. I think he gets too much heat. Keep up the great work. Love the Cards coverage. Thank you, man. Appreciate you jumping in. Look, I don't think he gets too much heat. I think all managers get heat. I think all presidents of baseball operations get heat when things aren't going well. I think that's what they signed up for. In fact, that was part of what I really liked hearing from Ollie today. He gets that. he totally understood. Now, I will say there are people to go with that one guy from that show. To go with you, buddy, there are people that are extreme about it. They looked at some of that stuff last night and like, that's how you fire someone. And like, no, no, it's not that. But again, that doesn't mean that everything is like total agree or totally disagree. There's a nice little middle ground there.
Yeah, the one thing I would say, and Ollie kind of alluded this today, he came in a tough spot, replacing a pretty popular manager. Who got let go very unexpectedly, and because of that, he was behind the 8 ball before before he even started the job. I do think he is a little bit misunderstood, and I know that there is a percentage of the fan base that it doesn't matter almost what happens, probably outside of winning a World Series, that they are never going to like Oliver Marmol for various reasons.
Yeah, but I do think that's why it's great and important that he's jumping on a Tuesday at noon every week on the Gas House Gang and taking questions. And, when you've got Ranji and Bernie and Tom in there, it's not going to be just pats on the back. I mean, you got real questions, and you got those today. And if you missed it, go wherever you get podcasts and check out the Gas House Gang, because you'll see what I'm talking about. But see, as it always is when we were doing it all together with us, was you and me and Bernie and Tom doing Gas House. Every disagreement was real, and there were great arguments, but it wasn't mean and personal, because it doesn't need to be that. You can argue and debate and not yell at each other.
100%.
or at least yell and then still be friends at the end of it, which is normally how it goes. All right, stick around. We're going to preview what's coming up in a little bit. It is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, it's still a mess trying to get through downtown, folks. This traffic reports a service of Metro Transit. If you're coming in for the ball game or anything else, eastbound 64 is backed up at Vanaventer. 44 is jammed at Grand. It goes across the Poplar Street Bridge over onto 5570 due to that emergency repair work. 44 and 70 between the McKinley and Poplar Bridges is heavy. Eastbound 70 jams across the Musial Veterans Bridge. Westbound 5570 west of 111 up to 64 is bumper to bumper as well. On the Missouri side, westbound 64 slow at Grand. Jam Boyle to McCausland. McKnight through Spady slow. Approaching Winghaven out to 70, still pretty busy. South 270, bumper to bumper, Page to Ladue. Both directions is 64 between Doherty Ferry and Ladue are slow. Southbound through 44, Gravois a little busy. 44 west of Miraz through Bowles to west of 141 is kind of slow. South 170 bogs down at Olive. North 170, 70 up to Airport Road slow. Eastbound 270, still stop and go pockets. West Florissant to Bell Fountain, and it's slow to the Chain of Rocks due to a recent incident that they managed to clear up. Westbound 70, TR Hughes out through Highway K is heavy. Southbound 55, Arsenal down through Bates, delays there. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
We are Metro Transit. We don't just help ourselves and our neighbors get where we need to be. We help our whole region get where we want to be. Get on board at rideonmetro.org.
This is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, last spot here before we get to Cardinals pregame. Matt Pauley's got you covered. 5:50 for the start of the pregame show. 6:45 for the first pitch tonight. So what do you got going on the pregame tonight?
I got to really – sometimes you get in a situation where you feel like you're kind of getting let in on a secret or something that not many people get to see. We were talking with Victor Scott II today, and, he keeps that notebook that he always has of things he learns. So he does this thing where he'll get on YouTube and search for Tony Gwynn videos or Brett Butler videos or guys like that who he wants to emulate. And he has his notebook sorted out by those people. It's all done by Post-it notes. So he's like a Tony Gwynn Post-it note, and you open up the notebook and there is just pages of what he has learned from watching and listening to Tony Gwynn. And he's got that for a bunch of other people. So we talked to him about that today. Actually, like the audio of him explaining what we were looking at when we were looking at the book. Really, really cool. I think people will appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that one of the things that So like when we coach younger players, I coach, junior high and high school age players for the most part. But we teach younger players, like, you need to watch the game and watch other players and watch the best. If you're trying to learn a good approach, find someone whose style of play kind of is like yours, right? So you notice you're not hearing Victor Scott saying, yeah, I'm watching Aaron Judge video.
Right.
What Aaron Judge does is not what Victor Scott's going to do. You notice all of those guys are what he's talking about, hit collectors.
Yeah.
You know, he's been using that phrase. I like that phrase for him, man. He could call it base collecting for all I care, because walks, singles, all that can turn into doubles and triples for him.
And he also mentioned that he watches videos of Vince Coleman when it comes to base stealing. He watches videos of Kevin Kiermaier when it comes to how he wants to play in the outfield. So it's not just all about what he's doing at the plate. He is a student of the game, and he just sits at his computer at YouTube. And it's not just watch. Again, this I think was the important part. It's not just watching them do things. It's like listening to interviews that they did about their approach and things like that, and seeing what he can learn from the words they say as well.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing that young players can do at the major league level, any level, is try to learn, pick up pieces from the guys that have already done the thing you're trying to do, right? So we hear that like on the big league team. Young guys will tap into the mind of an Adam Wainwright, or they'll tap into the mind of a Sonny Gray or a Nolan Arenado, because they've been there and done that. That's really fun. I kind of like that. In addition to all of the physical work he did all offseason, it certainly sounds like he did some homework too.
Yeah, a lot of it. And it was cool. Again, kudos to him for like pulling out the notebook and actually showing us what he does and kind of talking through it.
It's interesting, man. And some of these young guys, and we'll maybe expand on this on another show. A lot of these young guys are fun when you get to know them, and they take in information and they do things a little differently than older generations, but it's because of where they come up. They come up with information, and any information is good to them, and they try to put it to use. That's fascinating. Looking forward to talking more about that on a future show. Buddy, have a great pregame tonight.
I will.
That's Matt Pauley. He's got the pregame coming up at 5:50. Cardinals and the Angels at 6:45 here on 104.1 KMOX.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great